Hi there, Gatra. So Anthony Albanese he's only there for one day. Why did he choose Indonesia for his first overseas visit?
Hi there. Well, I think it's because of the symbolic importance that of Indonesia, right? As the biggest country in Southeast Asia, the Albanese government has invested so much in regional partnerships across the Indo-Pacific, especially in Southeast Asia. So Indonesia, being the largest country in the region, makes complete sense for it to be the first state visit.
And how does Mr. Albanese get on with Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto? How does he differ from his predecessor, Joko Widodo?
I think the relationship between Prime Minister Albanese and President Prabowo is very cordial, very professional. President Prabowo has strong affinities for the West, and he speaks fluent English, and that provides him with the ability of forging closer rapport, probably, with Prime Minister Albanese. The evidence last night that President Prabowo visited Prime Minister Albanese in his hotel shows that both leaders really hold the relationship to a high regard, and there is a possibility that this can go beyond just a professional relationship, a friendship, perhaps.
We've already mentioned the security pact signed last year and the possibility that Anthony Albanese will push for closer defence ties as well in the light of what Russia wants to do in Indonesia. So what will be the priorities for the Prime Minister on this visit? What does he want to achieve?
Look, I think the defense cooperation agreement that was established with Indonesia last year made it a lot easier to conduct training in each other's lands, as well as opens up opportunities for more exercises. Last year, Australia and Indonesia were able to conduct their biggest exercise in November. I think going forward, there is an interest in trying to figure out what other areas of cooperation exist in the security space. I think probably there's also a desire to continue sharing of views concerning, say, major regional issues, whether it be strategic competition in the Pacific, Ukraine, Gaza, and so on.
But Indonesia, Gatra, has made it clear it doesn't want to be involved in any geopolitical or military alliances, hasn't it? So with Indonesia remaining non-aligned, there are limits on how far agreements and pacts can go. They can never become true allies.
I think, firstly, the Australia-Indonesia security relationship is evidence that you can still have a very strong security relationship, even though you have very different threat perceptions, as well as different attitudes to responding to great power competition. The two countries have cooperated so much on various different issues. You're right that Indonesia, as a non-aligned state, has really two big no's in its foreign policy. Firstly, it's a no to military alliances, and secondly, it's a no to foreign bases. There will be limits, perhaps, on how the two states can work together to address certain elements that come out of China's rise, even though both Indonesia and Australia, I think, see some concerns emanating from China's rise. They do see that it's important to, they have different responses, right? Australia has doubled down on that relationship with the U.S. Indonesia is still very much focused on ensuring ASEAN, the centrality of ASEAN, and also, I think, minimizing any possible conflict between the U.S. and China.
Okay, can you talk to us a little bit more about Indonesia's relationship with China, Gatra, and also with Russia that we have mentioned? They're both seeking greater influence with Indonesia, aren't they?
Yeah, so Indonesia has a progressively developing relationship with both China and Russia. With Russia, it has a much better relationship with China than Russia. I think with Russia, the relationship is very much constrained to largely defense industry. The relationship has been cordial going back to the later years of the Cold War. Russia has been interested in getting access to Indonesia for bases, including in Biak and West Papua, for quite some time, but Indonesia has always rebuffed against it. There have been recent exercises with Russia as well as with China, and that's Indonesia really trying to sort of, demonstrate its non-aligned credentials, as well as deepen a relatively weaker security relationship that it has with China and Russia.
Just finally, what's happening with promoting investment ties with Indonesia, Gatra? Has there been some reluctance among Australian business to invest in Indonesia?
Generally, yes. Look, I think despite the fact that the two countries are neighbors, they're not the best of economic partners. And part of the reason there is that I think for a lot of Australian investors, there are a lot of difficulties concerning regulatory uncertainties in Indonesia, things like content requirements, for example. Now, these are things that are currently being reviewed in Indonesia, especially in light of the Trump tariffs. So there might be some progress in the long run. And beyond that, both Australia and Indonesia are working working very hard to provide advisory support as well to Australian businesses interested in investing in Indonesia.
Dr. Gatra, Priyandita, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.